So now the next $1 million question you want to be asking is, how did we get the spring out of this very place here? So this is the one for the rear and this is the one for the front, and I'm taking this front and replacing it where this one is. Yes. To dry to some certain point before you start to build this other one. So on the low side, it's supposed to be having exactly the same thing on the high side. So look around and see.
Print is, I think, the literal translation.
Yes, well, that's a very interesting theory. I have a simpler one. You're all not worthy.
Good morning, this is Dr. Quarter Fix. Today we're gonna be replacing the spring for this for the rear back tire for this Audi A4. So, and I'm going to be showing you the easy trick that I'm going to be using to replace it. It's not going to be anything easy. So if you're new to my channel, kindly support me by subscribing to my channel. And I tell you what, it's absolutely free. You are not paying a shit for it. So let's get to it. The first thing here, the trick, the reason why I brought it to the front, why we're actually changing the rear spring, as you can already see. As you can see here, we have already changed it. We have removed it. So how do we do that? That's what I'm going to be explaining to you. So the first thing, you're going to be getting this one out. And when you get this one out, let me say something before you go further. If you want to actually take on this, I think you want to get your hands really ready and get yourself really up to meet challenges. I want you to take fixing issues like construction workers, construction companies. They will meet a lot of obstacles and they are ready to digest them for breakfast, melt them out like peanut butter, and that's fine. So you should be ready. Okay, so one of the major challenges you're going to be facing here is this linkage here, this stabilizer linkage. Removing it is going to be a really pain in the ass. And here on this tip here, as you can see my hand, that is being secured in place with a 16 millimeter, while this one here is 17 millimeter. And getting it out is going to be one of the biggest challenges you're going to be facing. Though now, as for the hub, you have a bolt here and one up there and two down here. The head is in place. These are struck in place with the stabilizer, the back stabilizer, sway bar thing. And so now the next $1 million question you want to be asking is, how did we get the spring out of this very place here? That is why you have to loosen all these things out. When you lose them out, then you want to lose this one out, and someone have to push this down, have to apply some serious force here. And when applying that serious force, you want to make sure that you clamp this very spring right here. This one is very, very low. I mean, the leg can't even go inside. It's somewhere around here. The thigh is somewhere around here. So that's very, very terrible. Now, when you see this gap here, the right measurement is going to be like your hand straight like this, and there should be gap, maybe your shoe, and there should be gap right there. So that's the right clearance, so that it can bounce up and down without touching the fender. But in our own situation, it is very close here. So when it hits a gallop, then the tire goes inside and touch here, which is very bad. So we decided we're going to be replacing it. And we also see that some other techs have tried to replace it, but they couldn't. So the trick we use in replacing it, this is the boogeyman we're talking about here. You can see that you can literally fit this with your hands, I mean without the right tool. So those two is what I'm going to be showing you. This one I'm going to be using this one for my Make 4. Then what we did here in order to do the right to cut down cost is, since we replaced this front one here, we decided we're going to be transferring the front spring from the stroke down to this back one here. And struck right there that we removed, you can see that this one has gone to St. Petersburg. So this one is gone. So the spring that comes with it is what we decided we're gonna be putting at the back. Is gonna be just what we need in order to give it just that right edge. So I'm gonna be keeping you guys posted when we're done with it, because right now I can't actually be covering and doing this. But the trick right there is, in order to get this one out, and also in order to get this one out, this one is for the front. So you can see that this one is thicker, almost the same size with the back one, but it's thicker. So that is why I figured out that this is gonna be the right replacement of that back. Though it won't sit too very fine, but it's gonna sit fine. It's gonna balance when the whole thing goes up. So this is the one for the rear, and this is the one for the front, and I'm taking this front and replacing it where this one is. Now the tool which I use is over here. That's the tools which I use, the two tools. So if you don't know how to use these tools, I don't know, should I have to teach you how to use it? It's very simple. This is one of those things I use in holding containers in place when they are transporting it. So when you got it set up like I set it up like this, then you insert it like this. Insert it like this. Don't get it to the end. Then while you are having this one right here, you slot it into this hole here. Then you remove it and you start winding it up and down like this, and you should be able to jack it up. You should be able to compress it. You have to do it one side and the other side. Now while we are trying to remove it, this one here, knowing fully well that we have a limited space, so we have to shift this one a little bit out of the way. Have to shift this one a little bit out of the way like this. When we loosen the bolt, this two bolt that's holding it in place up there, so we shift it out of the way, then we clip it on one side here and clip it on the other side here using these. So after clipping it, we have to compress it, then apply some force here before we can get it out. After getting it, that's just the process. So that's the same process we're going to be using to put it back. Okay, as you can see here, we have actually replaced this one here and give us just the perfect, just like we have visioned it to be. So it gives us just the right edge, and the reality there is we took the opportunity to replace this this hub. We took the opportunity to replace this. So I think it's the right time for it. So now it's giving us the right edge that we need. So when we're done bringing the car up, you should be seeing the gap of the tire between somewhere this level. That is just okay. So I know watching this video today is not going to be anything of it should be something of a joy, because you've learned in this video that you can actually transfer the front spring. If suppose is the front the back one is weak, and you shift it over here, and using this my little trick here, and everything should be able to work fine. So you can see the aluminum for the upper control arms of the up that we put, and this is the one for the rear. So I'll show you the result when we're done, so that you know that this actually works. Tie it, you have to you have to tie it in such a way that I have to give you clearance to sit right here to control it while it's going under here and here. So you can't tie it completely at 180 degrees across to each other. I have to shift it a little bit to be like as if it's 90, 90 or 110 or 130. So within the angle between here and here, that's what I'm saying. So you can see the setup. So once you do this, you keep compressing it and compressing it. If you have known how to use this, if you don't know how to use this, maybe you can request for it or see some other channels if it deemed it fit that maybe a lot of people request to use it, how to use it, and I'm gonna show the video. But if you already know how to use it or have some other better clamp, then you should do the same job. So all now what you're gonna be doing is to keep compressing it until you get small, like to get into here, that if you apply a little pressure just like I'm applying with my hands right now, it will give you gap. Then you slot it right in there, and don't forget the rubber, to put this rubber on top here. At least let it keep the noise away a little bit. I have some other rubber down there, and this whole thing, you should be able to work. In as much as you get in there, it's going to work. So you guys see it, we have inserted it right there. And when you insert it like we did, when someone apply pressure here and you put it down, forget the rubber is there. Don't forget the down rubber. Then don't release it yet, don't release this tool yet, until you have to use a jack and support it from under here. Let it lift it up, so that when it lifts it up, you can put this linkage back. Even though as it is right now, it can go back, it can be refitted back. So want to refit that back. Then another thing that the jack, why you don't have to remove this, is if you remove it, it's going to tension, it's going to put this thing all the way down. So we don't want to put this thing all the way down. We still want to allow the compressor to do its job, to hold it in place like you hold it right there. Then when we jack it up, apply a hydraulic jack from under here to compress it further. Then that is when you can get the hub into it, because as it is right now, the distance between here and here is too much. You can't literally put this hub right there. You can't fit in this hub right there as it is right now. So the jack has to come and lift it up. When you use the hydraulic jack to push it back up, the two things you're going to be putting is you refit this here, here, then the sway bar. Then that is when you can be able to release this one. So right here, when you hold it, then you know you are done.
You got it.
Okay guys, so you have seen it. We need to jack this like I'm saying. So as soon as you jack it up, then it's gonna help to compress the spring the more. And you also got to monitor to make sure the spring doesn't fall out of balance here. And I think that is pretty much the whole trick there. Now the next thing is gonna be putting this into this linkage. And as soon as we put it into the linkage there and tied it, then we're going to be setting the hub. We're going to make sure that the hub is set to it. And pretty much that is when we're going to remove. When the hub is there, then we can remove the hydraulic jack. Then we can remove the compressors that are holding the ring that are compressing the springs. Then pretty much that is it. So over here you can see that's a very good distance right there. The whole thing flows. You have getting the same gap you get here, up here, and there. So that's the balance. That's what I'm trying to achieve right there. That's the beauty of the whole thing. So you don't have to keep bashing on. You can see the front. So I think this is just the right fit for this thing, right? Okay, people, now that you know how to be able to replace your rear spring using the front one, it's a knockoff. And I tell you what, you are the qualified person to do this job, my dear. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel, give me a thumbs up, drop me a comment of thanks below this video description, share with your friends. And I tell you what, I'll catch you guys later after this long drift. I hope you enjoyed, and you have a lovely day. And don't forget, this is Dr. Cool Auto Fix. When you have a problem, don't hesitate to drop me a message below this description. And I tell you what, it's all getting better, it's all getting good. Don't forget, when you have a problem, we got your back. We're here to help. you for watching. Thank you for your time. You are not the only one. Don't forget to make the switch. Yeah, it's important.